All the World's a Stage by William Shakespeare. Do you recognize this great person out over here? He's a great poet and a great dramatist. Well, he's none other than William Shakespeare. And today we are going to begin the poem written by him, All the World's a Stage. This poem actually is a monologue from his play As You Like It. Now, what is a monologue? A monologue is whereby you have one character in the play delivering a dialogue all by himself. That is called as a monologue. So this All the World's a Stage is a dialogue that has been delivered by one of the characters. So let's do the poem. But before that, while you read the poem, you will realize that the poem has no rhyming words. Therefore, there is no rhyme scheme. Hence, the poem is said to be written in free verse. Keep that in mind. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. So William Shakespeare says he compares the world to a theatre, to a stage. And he says we all over here are like players, are like actors and actresses. We enact different roles. Role of a son, daughter, mother, father, friend, cousins, husband, wife, and so on. And during this time, we also go through the 7 ages, that is right from childhood to the time when we grow very old, right from our birth, which is called as entrance in the poem, till our exit, which is the death. So different roles we play, we enact different parts, and finally we leave the stage. That is, we pass away from this earth, we live this earth forever. Mark, all the world's a stage, it's a metaphor because world is compared to a stage. Second line, and all the men and women merely players, once again it's a metaphor because men and women are compared to players. Third line, they have their exits and their entrance. It's antithesis. You have 2 opposite words out over there, exit and entrances. So this is the introduction of the poem, as such you can say. Now, what are the different stages and what are the feelings and the emotions that man goes through in these different stages, or what are the changes that are there, is what has been explained by William Shakespeare. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arm. So first is the infant stage, the baby stage, where the baby only mews and pukes. Mewling, crying, making sounds. And puking is vomiting, that is when the leftover food starts coming out from the mouth. In the nurse's arm, that is, it can be a mother over here, it can be also the one who takes care. So that is the only thing that the baby does, an infant does at this stage. Then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. So the second stage is of a schoolboy, a complaining schoolboy, whining meaning complaining. He loves to carry his bag, a satchel. He has a very bright face, very happy, but at the same time, many a times is not willing to go to school and therefore creeps like a snail, walks very slowly like a snail. This is the stage which many of us have gone through. Initially, many of us wouldn't love to go to school. We were frightened to go to school, or we wanted our parents along with us in the classroom. It's the beginning stage when we start going to school. You may say it's a kindergarten or the nursery stage. Mark, mewling and puking in the nurse's arm, it's onomatopoeia. because you have this sound of mewling and puking. Similarly, the next line, then whining schoolboy. Once again, it's onomatopoeia. You have the sound present in the word whining. Next line, and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwillingly to school. This is a simile because a child's action or the walk is compared to a snail. So we've done two stages, the infant and the school going age. Let's do the next age. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballet made to his mistress' eyebrow. So next is the lover, the teenage stage. When you start growing up and you are like a hot fire, like a furnace, and you easily fall in love. It's a stage where each one goes through that infatuation stage. And you fall in love with the first girl probably you come across. This is a stage where William Shakespeare says the lover sings a song, woeful ballet. Ballet is a dance, a song which narrates stories. And what is the what is the teenager doing out over here? He's singing song of his mistress, of the girl whom he loves, about the facial expression of the eyebrows. Then a soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even the cannon's mouth. The next stage is the youth stage, where it is compared to a soldier. This is the stage where the young boys start getting beards in the form of patches. So therefore it's called as bearded like the pard. Just as a leopard has small patches of dark colored hair, similarly young boys start growing their beard. It is a stage where you are very passionate about doing things. You are excited about doing things because you have all those youthful qualities. You are very easily prone to quarreling. You get jealous very fast. You get angry very fast. You are like a bubble which bursts very fast. You are like a cannon. The youthful stage is like a cannon, that fires immediately. And that is what William Shakespeare says. So we've done now the infant stage, the childhood stage, the teenage stage, and now we are come to the youth stage. And finally, let's go forward and says, and then the justice with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. So next is of justice. Justice is like a judge. So the man has now reached the middle age. He's got stern eyes, severe eyes. And at this time, he is full of wise saws, full of wise saying. He's full of advices. Because by this stage, he has experienced life. He knows what is right and wrong. And at this stage, he feels he should advise the youngsters. He should advise his children to do the right things. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful horse well saved a world too wide. The next stage is now he's turning into an old man. So the middle age, he's got a big belly, stomach, lot of fats, lot of advices for the youngsters. And now the sixth stage is when he's growing old. He's grown thin, all the fats are lost. He becomes lean, absolutely thin, wears loose clothing because now he cannot wear the clothes that he used to wear when he was a young boy. Youthful horse. So all the young clothings are gone away. Has a spectacle, eyesight is becoming weak. Okay. Over here, mark his youthful horse well saved a world too wide. This is alliteration. you have the sound of alphabet W which is repeated. So it is alliteration. So we've done the sixth stage. Now let's move forward. For his shrunk shank and his big manly voice, turning again to a childish treble, pipes and whistles in his mouth sound. So finally, he's grown old, and by now his manly voice has changed, so that it's changed into more of where he starts speaking in a very low tone. He cannot speak too much. He cannot shout loudly. And more of, he's now going into that stage where he becomes more of a childlike. The old age is that class. More of a childlike. Just as an infant, a baby, dependent completely on the parents, completely on the caretakers. Similarly, in the old age too, our grandparents, our elders, completely depend on the younger ones, the grandchildren or their children. Because this is the stage they have grown weak, they have lost their youthful stage, that energy that they had, and now they're completely dependent on somebody else. Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Yes. And finally, the last stage is the stage where man loses his teeth, loses his eyesight, and it is the second childhood stage in which he enters, where he starts now forgetting a lot of things. Mere oblivion. Mere oblivion, he forgets a lot of things. This is the stage where he is without teeth, sans teeth without teeth, sans eyes, no proper eyesight, sans taste, sans everything. Once again, he has entered the stage of childhood, in the last stage of his life, where just as when he was born without teeth, where he is to not be able to speak properly, where he had to depend on mashed food, on liquid food, that same stage has come back again. Right? And that is the last stage of a man. After this, he passes away from this beautiful earth and his role is over. This is the message that William Shakespeare has given. He's explained it very beautifully, the different stages, the different ages that man goes through, the different stages that man goes through. Okay, over here you mark, and whistles in his sound. It is onomatopoeia because you have the sound of whistling. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, and sans everything. Repetition, because the word sans has been repeated. Sans is actually a French word class which means without. So keep that in mind. So when you're writing critical appreciation for this poem, remember you have to write the title of the poem, the name of the poet. You have to write what is the central idea or the theme of the poem in 2 or 3 sentences. Even you can write a little bit more about it, describe a little bit more about the poem. If there are figures of if there is a rhyme scheme, mention what the rhyme scheme is. Rhyming words you have to mention, and of course you have to also mention a few figures of speech. However, this poem did not have a rhyme scheme, therefore you will write as there is no rhyme scheme, therefore it's a free verse poem. I hope you all have understood the poem. Thank you. Have a great day.